Hello, friends. It's Raymond. As a reminder, I'm running for the U.S. Senate against John Fetterman in 2028. I am a progressive Democrat running on the Working Families platform. And this is my weekly campaign update video. Thank you so much for checking in and following along with this campaign. I'm so glad that you are here, and I deeply appreciate your support. Speaking of support, in my last video, I talked about some of the capture friction that I was facing when talking with folks. So I would go to people's doors and we'd have a great conversation, and I'd hand them a flyer with a QR code on it and say, hey, go to my website and go sign up. And some people did, but also it was a much lower conversion rate than what I was hoping for. And so I was looking into that. And one thing when you're looking at your metrics, and this is one of the reasons it's really important to capture metrics for anything you're building, a startup or a campaign or something, right? You should capture what your progress is over time, is because it will help you identify problems, right? So this is, I looked at my capture rates and I go, this is really low. And what is typical out there for other people running campaigns? And then you look into it and say, well, what can I do to improve? And so to do that, I created a supporter sign-up card. And so if you've signed up in the last week, you probably see me write down some of your information and ask how you want to be contacted. And that's how you got added to this list. And because of this, in 1 week, I have doubled my subscribers, my supporters. So we went from 9 to 18 in a week. And that's just newsletter subscribers. That's not even folks who said, hey, I prefer to be contacted by mail or by text, but don't email me. Which is also, we got a lot of supporters who, check the other boxes that aren't on these emails. And that I hope in some time, maybe they'll come and join. But I'm not somebody who's going to spam people. I'm not down with that. And so only if you check this box are you going to get this email. So some other things, you may have seen these door hangers. I am going to design some new ones today. I'm almost run out. I printed, as for my initial feeler, I think 750 of these, and they're mostly gone at this point. So I'm going to do another one, but I think I'm going to make it a little bit closer to my flyer, which you may have seen me hand out. This is more of a rack card. If you see me at the door, you may have seen one of these. This is just created in the last week. This is why this is in this weekly update, because these are all new tools that I've developed for the campaign. And then lastly here, I created a business flyer. And so you'll start seeing me hang these up around our community. I'm trying not to name that community online because I don't want people to identify so closely with where we live right now, but we'll just say Pittsburgh, maybe east side of Pittsburgh, right? So you'll start seeing these hung up, and if you own a business and you want to support me and you want one of these flyers, please reach out to me, let me know. You could just reply to the email and it'll come to me and I'll be able to read it. So that's kind of where we are. And then, here's a laminated cutout version. I'm quite proud of that. I made about 20 of these in, I think, an hour and a half or something. It wasn't too long. So we'll go out and start hanging those. So huge wins this week. We've solved the supporter sign up friction problem, and we've created tons of new stuff. I also created a bunch of little goodies that I'm going to mail people. Just to say thank you, some stickers and things, nothing too crazy, but just a way to kind of say, hey, here's a small thank you for supporting me. Where are we at in our campaign? We're 4 weeks in, and we have 18 newsletter subscribers, which seems low, but that's actually really good. That's really good. I've only canvassed for 4 days, so in 4 days we've gotten almost 20 people. That's 5 people per day, and these people. Right? You're not a bot, right? You're not an AI, you're not an LLM, you're a real person that lives in this community. And so when we get to 100 real people or 200 real people, right, and we meet together, we can do a lot of good with that. We can raise money, we could go out and canvas together, we could have interesting events where we just talk and get to know our neighbors and have a community cookout. Obviously, the yard sale will be coming up here, I think, in a couple months. There's a lot of cool things that we could do together as a community to help boost the campaign. And I hope that you will join me for those events as they come up. I am hoping to do things like maybe a raffle, or baked goods sale, or selling craft goods or something like that. Some way for us to raise some money to get this thing to really kick off the ground. But at this point, I think the campaign's been validated. I think we can and will rapidly gain subscribers. I think it is totally feasible that I will have 100 subscribers and supporters by the end of this month. So one of the things that I want to talk about is a little bit about our campaign strategy. How am I doing things differently than others? So one of the things that you will come to learn about me, and I am going to do a longer video on this at some point, is I really don't like social media. I tried it. I stayed away from it for a long time. I don't think I joined Facebook until 2014, and then I was on it until like 2019, and I left. And part of this is because I just think it is utterly toxic to community, to society, to culture. I think it's done an immense amount of damage. I think a lot of what we see and what we read online is bots and AIs and propaganda and marketing, and very little of it anymore is community. It was, for a while, very community focused, but those communities have all died. They've been captured by these techno-feudal capitalist overlords. I've got a better way of saying it, but these forums are now tightly restricted and controlled. They control what you see, they control what you hear, they control what you read, they control what you say, right? Angela Davis has a famous quote. She says, "You cannot tear down the master's house with the master's tools." And these tools are the master's tools. So if we want to dismantle what they have built and what the prison that they have placed us inside, we have to play a different game. So I don't care about bots. I don't care about AIs or LLMs. I don't want them to follow me. I don't want their support. They're not real. What I want is you. I want my neighbors. I want real humans, right? Another thing on that note with this campaign is I'm not going to be using generative AI. I thought about it, and I was going to use it a bit when I was doing some ministry stuff, but I have ultimately decided against all use of it, all use. And in fact, I've hired a copy editor. So a friend of mine from my church is a copywriter and has offered his services and is helping out on that front, and has indeed already made quite a lot of edits to what's on the website, which we've already published. So that's something else that has happened in the last week. We brought on, his name is Scott, and he's just a great guy, and I'm really happy that he's on my team. So another thing that you will get with my anti-social media, anti-AI campaign is I'm going to pay human workers to do human work, because this is a human campaign. I hope that we can put immense pressure on John, and I believe that we will beat him in 2028. I think that we can do it. I think we got 2 years to do it. People have built billion-dollar startups in 2 years. I can build our way into the Senate in that time frame if I have your help and if I have your support. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all so much. Much love, to good spirit and good fortune. Take care.